The first home run had already sent the stadium into chaos. Shohei Ohtani had stepped into the batter's box, waited for one perfect pitch, and absolutely crushed it. Crack! The ball disappeared into the seats. The crowd exploded. But nobody knew that the home run was only the beginning. Because later in the game, Ohtani would come back to the plate with the bases loaded, and this time, he wouldn't hit the ball over the wall. He would hit it so hard into the gap that every runner would score. The game started with an electric atmosphere. The stadium was packed, the fans were loud, and everyone was waiting for the first big offensive moment. Then Ohtani walked toward home plate. The pitcher looked confident. He had faced Ohtani before. He knew the danger. The catcher gave the sign. The pitcher nodded. Ohtani settled into his stance. The first pitch came outside. Ball 1. The pitcher didn't panic. The second pitch was a breaking ball. Ohtani watched it carefully. Strike 1. The next pitch came inside. Ohtani fouled it away. The count was becoming dangerous. The pitcher stepped off the mound. He took a breath, then came back. The catcher gave the sign. Fast ball. Ohtani's eyes locked onto it. The pitcher started his delivery. The baseball came toward the plate. Ohtani loaded his swing. His front foot landed. His hands exploded through the zone. Crack. The sound echoed across the stadium. The baseball launched toward deep left field. The outfielder turned immediately. He took a few steps toward the wall. Then he stopped. He knew there was no chance. The baseball disappeared over the fence. Home run. The stadium erupted. Ohtani dropped the bat and began his slow trot around the bases. The Dodgers' dugout exploded. Fans were screaming. The scoreboard changed. Ohtani had just given the Dodgers the lead. One swing, one home run. One huge moment, but the opposing team wasn't going to disappear. They fought back. A run came across, then another. The lead disappeared. The game became tight again. Ohtani returned to the plate later in the game. The pitcher was much more careful this time. He stayed away from the middle of the zone. Low, outside, breaking ball. Ohtani watched. The count became full. The pitcher finally challenged him. Fast ball. Ohtani swung. Crack. The baseball shot towards center field. For a moment, it looked like another home run, but the center fielder moved underneath it. Ohtani walked back toward the dugout. The home run was still the biggest moment of the game, but the Dodgers needed more. And as the innings continued, the pressure increased. The opposing team took the lead. The Dodgers answered. Then the score became tied again. By the late innings, every pitch felt enormous. The crowd knew one big hit could completely change the game. And then, the Dodgers created their biggest opportunity of the night. A single, then another, a walk. Suddenly, the bases were loaded. The stadium erupted. 3 runners, 1 batter, and the batter, walking toward the plate, was Shohei Ohtani. The pitcher looked toward the bases, then toward Ohtani. He knew exactly what the situation meant. A simple hit could put the Dodgers ahead. A powerful hit could break the game wide open. The crowd began chanting Ohtani's name. The pitcher received the sign. He nodded. Ohtani stepped into the box. The first pitch came low. Ball 1. The second pitch came outside. Ball 2. The pitcher was refusing to give Ohtani anything comfortable. The stadium became louder. Ohtani remained calm. The next pitch was a breaking ball. Ohtani watched it carefully. The strike 1. The pitcher had finally found the zone. He came set again. The catcher gave another sign. The pitcher nodded. He started his motion. Fastball. Ohtani swung foul. The crowd screamed. Now the count was getting dangerous. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded. Ohtani was 1 pitch away from either changing the game or watching the opportunity disappear. The pitcher stepped off the mound. He looked toward the runner at third. then second, then first. Finally, he looked back at Ohtani. The catcher gave the sign. The pitcher nodded. He began his delivery. The baseball came toward the plate. Ohtani tracked it. His front foot landed. His hands fired. Crack! The baseball exploded toward the gap. The outfielders turned. The runners took off. The crowd erupted. The ball bounced into the outfield. The center fielder chased it, but nobody could stop it. The runner from third crossed home. Then the runner from second. Then the runner from first. 3 runs. Ohtani kept running. He reached second. Then the third base coach started waving him forward. Keep going. Ohtani accelerated. The crowd was going insane. The baseball was still being chased in the outfield. Ohtani rounded second. The throw was coming back toward the infield. He was heading for third. And suddenly, the entire stadium realized what was happening. Ohtani was going for third. Ohtani was flying toward third base as the baseball finally reached the infield. The third base coach was waving him forward, and the entire stadium was on its feet. 3 runners had already crossed home plate, but Ohtani wasn't finished. He wanted the extra base. The relay throw came toward third. Ohtani slid hard into the bag. The third baseman reached down with his glove, but the tag arrived too late. The umpire spread his arms. Safe. The stadium exploded. Ohtani had just delivered a bases-clearing triple. 3 runs had scored on 1 swing, and Ohtani was standing safely at third while the Dodgers dugout celebrated behind him. The giant screen immediately replayed the hit. First came the explosive contact, then the ball racing through the gap, then all 3 runners crossing home. Finally, Ohtani's aggressive sprint toward third. The commentators could barely contain themselves. Earlier in the game, Ohtani had already hit a home run. Now he had produced an even bigger moment with the bases loaded. The home run had given the Dodgers an early spark. The triple had completely changed the game. The opposing team tried to respond immediately, but the Dodgers had all the momentum. Their pitcher attacked the next hitter with a fastball. Strike 1. Another pitch came inside. The batter grounded the ball toward shortstop. Out. The next hitter stepped in and sent a fly ball toward right field. The outfielder moved underneath it and made the catch. 2 outs. The final batter stepped into the box. The stadium was roaring as the pitcher delivered a breaking ball. Swing and miss. Another pitch. Foul ball. Then came the fastball. Oloril, strike 3. The inning was over. The Dodgers had protected their lead, and everyone inside the stadium knew who had created it. Shohei Ohtani. Inside the dugout, his teammates continued celebrating. The earlier home run was still being replayed, but now the bases-clearing triple had become the highlight everyone was talking about. The 2 moments showed completely different sides of Ohtani. The home run showed his power. The triple showed his speed. But the situation showed something even more important: his ability to deliver when the pressure was highest. 3 runners were waiting. The Dodgers needed 1 huge swing. Ohtani gave them exactly that. And he didn't stop at second. He kept running. He trusted his speed and turned a 3-run hit into a triple. By the end of the game, fans were still talking about the same sequence: the home run, the bases loading, the explosive swing, 3 runners crossing home, and Ohtani racing into third. 1 home run started the story. 1 bases-clearing triple finished it, and the final image was Ohtani standing on third, while the entire stadium celebrated around him. 1 swing for power, 1 swing for speed, 1 unforgettable night. If you enjoyed this unforgettable story, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Dynamic Baseball for more dramatic Shohei Ohtani stories and unbelievable baseball content. Which was more impressive, Ohtani's home run or his bases-clearing triple?